guys, I'm Comire, and game makers have been developing for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One for 6 to 7 years now, and 2020 will be the last ever year they make games for only those consoles. So, the releases this year are set to be of the highest quality, since they have the maximum hardware experience behind them. They're the swan song to a generation, so need to have a respectable caliber to match. And they need to come out before shops get a monsoon of mums and dads trying to get that new S or X console because they can't quite remember what their kid wanted this Christmas. This is Start and Select, and these are my most anticipated games of 2020. At its core, this game is about taking powerful but difficult to manage components and making them work as a team. Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk. We ain't talking about them! I'm talking about the actual game! Marvel's Avengers combines dynamic, explosive, set-piece driven storytelling in a video game and the commercial momentum of Marvel's Spider-Man and Avengers Endgame. Doing that while avoiding launching a shared universe going from one guy to all of them, otherwise known as pulling a DC, by using the no we are food at home versions of the heroes and hoping if you see them enough times they'll stop looking like gross mirror dimension Doctor Who monsters, otherwise known as pulling a Detective Pikachu. The game strides towards a seamless experience by blending playable and non-playable segments, which in practice will probably be a number of scripted and quick-time events that imply pressure while being completely safe, because, let's be real, little kids need to beat this game. And incredibly obvious camera shifts from a cinematic to a gameplay viewpoint, like the video game equivalent of knowing which part of the background's about to be animated in an old cartoon. But credit where credit's due, getting several very different superhero powers, and Kratos' throwing arm, into one control scheme couldn't have been easy. That must have been harder than telling Hawkeye he's been dropped for the gamer girl personification of the phrase, during puberty your body goes through some changes. The Shantae games are 2D Metroidvania style platformers with an art style that has more cartoon TNA than all of Tumblr, starring a magical genie who whips her hair like Willow Smith, sways her hips like Shakira, and tapes up her crotch like a contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race. Shantae is a simple and fun series, having started on the Game Boy Color in 2002, growing graphically from pixels to line art to full animated cutscenes, and having a diverse cast of characters. Such colourful folk like the bird trading with the bosom, or the pirate with the pear, or who can forget the zombie with the zabadumbas. In Shantae and the Seven Sirens, Shantae must explore a new land to rescue a cohort of fellow half-genies and defeat the Seven Sirens. Shantae overcomes challenges aided by several magical abilities, like transforming into animals and using monster cards to gain passive skills and performing a magical dance to call upon the other half-genies' powers. I mean, it makes more sense than Mario Kart weapons at least. Dungeons, in a nutshell, is Minecraft. You know, the bouncy, kid-friendly block game mashed with the goth grunge dungeon crawler Diablo. Or to put it another way, it's like Cameron Diaz being married to that dude off Good Charlotte. Now, despite Minecraft being so popular it's basically 50% of YouTube's income, Dungeons is only the third game. Minecraft Earth is the second, a Pokemon Go type game that tries to get you and your friends to leave the house, while the local co-op in Minecraft Dungeons tries to get you and your friends to stay indoors and throw away the key. I didn't even like dungeon crawlers. Or Minecraft. But if you're basically selling RuneScape again in 2020, I don't care if I honestly can't tell which actually has the better graphics. I am all in! Minecraft Dungeons creates its particular kind of endorphin rush by showering its players with emeralds, artifacts, and general loot. There's enough weapons, armor, and equipment buffing enhancements to make you look like a goddamn Valkyrie. And it keeps gameplay slightly fresh by randomly generating dungeons and enemies. It's essentially a humble roguelike come looter shooter, with the largest built-in audience on Earth. And there isn't anything the others can do to stop it.
You can never have this. Never, never, never!
and the Will of the Wisps is a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, a Metroidvania-style platformer with movements so calmingly graceful it could teach a mindfulness course. The art style is particularly of note, as well as a soundtrack more soulful than a lo-fi hip-hop channel. And it's the only video game I've come across that used the word spirit more often than Black Panther said vibranium. It's everywhere. Will of the Wisps pushes the series forward from its predecessor in terms of auto-saving over manually placed save points and a new spirit shard system which grants Ori buffs like taking less damage. I can't wait to see Ori's new abilities, having already gained a spirit sword and soul lasso like Fairy Wonder Woman, coming a long way from that little white rabbit barely double jumping over bright purple spikes who could easily be mistaken for a throwaway Yu-Gi-Oh card.
And I summon the spirit monster, Inaba White Rabbit! It has the ability to hop over all your monsters and go straight for your life points.
One of the lead developers, Thomas Maller, said Will of the Wisps should be to Blind Forest what Super Mario Bros. 3 was to the original Super Mario Bros. Now, it'd be a high honour if players and critics mentioned the game in those terms. And speaking of which... Gods and Monsters is a beautifully drawn video game inspired by Greek mythology. It comes from Ubisoft, who, following their games of Super Mario and Star Fox, have decided to put an androgynous pit inside The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild in hopes Nintendo don't realise they never actually signed off on it. If you thought Decay of Logos and Genshin Impact were the worst Breath of the Wild imitators, you're wrong! Genshin Impact is clearly a Xenoblade 2 ripoff. Jeez! 12 Minutes is an independent thriller about a man trapped in a time loop, desperately trying to solve a murder before time restarts again. Certain walking simulators from The Stanley Parable to Return of the Obra Dinn have gained critical acclaim for telling their story through player observation and experimentation while locked in a moment in time. I've got high expectations this mini Groundhog Day copycat could be something special.
What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? You little brat? You have never thanked me!
One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, this will probably get the level of fighting game prestige as Power Rangers Battle for the Grid or Bleach Shattered Blade, if we're lucky, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. But what makes this game interesting to me is the dumb show it's based on. The anime showcases so many varied, imaginative and provocative characters, who all get approximately 36 seconds of screen time before they're punched into that never-to-be-seen again dark hole that Charlie Sheen disappeared into. But when making movesets for these fighters, the developers can make up literally anything. And that potential is so exciting, I could go... Final Fantasy VII Remake reinvigorates gaming's favourite overcompensation joke, with spectacular graphics, a bolstered real-time battle system, and a man with the smooth-talking parlance of a 70s blaxploitation character. The full game is reportedly split between multiple discs, so this first release is kinda like what Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes was to Phantom Pain. If you think remasters are broken now, wait till they realise how long we patiently waited for that last season of Game of Thrones. And lastly, Pokemon Sleep makes you win at sleeping like Pokemon Go did with walking. People often consider Nintendo and Pokemon the same thing, which isn't true. It takes Nintendo a lot of time to decide how to use their characters on other platforms, whereas Pokemon fire more shots than Rambo with Parkinson's. So far, they've made 13 apps, including a Netflix player, 2 Facebook games, and a US-only barcode scanner. There's so many that I actually made one of these up. And it's weird it wasn't the Magikarp one. Okay, so before anything, is no one else worried that Ubisoft are clearly digitally recreating the edited version of the entire planet? I mean, they've already mapped out major locations in France, Italy, Turkey, Israel, Egypt, Greece, the Caribbean, and the entire United States. This is the 3rd time they've done London, and the 2nd time you play someone, watch them die, and move on to another person before the family can even identify the body. I'm just saying, someone should keep an eye on them before we're all hooked into those Inception sleep machines and living in a virtual reality world Black Mirror style, okay? Okay, let's back to the thing. Watch Dogs started with a simple question. What if my phone could hack a crane through that security camera? 2 games later, we're dealing with a totalitarian laser murder drone regime, a vigilante AI assistant with the voice of Portal 2's Wheatley and the sass of Tyrion, and potentially hundreds of playable people with unique personalities, backstories, connections and skills that look like they have the same character model toolkit as Assassin's Creed 2. Super Smash Bros. Said everyone is here. Watch Dogs looked at the 8.7 million population of London and went, hold my beer. Watch Dogs Legion has dozens, maybe hundreds of computer characters that can be played. You can change their looks, they have interconnecting relationships that have ripple effects across your other interactions. Their special skill is directly linked to their personality, like a lawyer who can get their teammates out of jail, or Uncle Victor who takes half damage after a drink. Each character will be totally unique. Well, that is until you realise everyone probably falls into a couple different categories, like male and female, or young, middle-aged, old, or 2, maybe 3 different fighting styles, like the brawler, the martial artist, the military trained, weapons expert, something like that. So, about 18 different animation sets, a couple occupations, an associated in-game skill, and an in-game contact screen that looks like the post you liked page of a serial stalker. Upon release, this game has the makings to get the internet talking about favourite characters, where and when you can find them, and the best skills to beat the game. At time of writing, no multiplayer has been announced, but everyone sharing and enjoying the same experience together can be the best multiplayer experience of all. All the pig masks and crowns in Buckingham Palace couldn't match that feeling. Wait, do you think you can recruit the Queen? And that's it for this one. A quick sorry if you're hoping for Cyberpunk 2077, it just didn't make the cut. But to be fair, it did score the same as Super Meat Boy Forever, so maybe it was for the best. And hey, what's in the Comire Corner? Well, in last year's video, I had Pokemon Switch 2019, which later came to be known as Pokemon Sword and Shield. Well, after being out for a couple months, Twitter user Smart196 thought, hey, general game patches are okay, but we can go deeper. Patch the actual Pokemon themselves. You know, it's a fair idea. What do you make of it? And also, what games are you looking forward to in 2020? Now, just let me know. You know where the comments are, let me know down below. Or chuck me a tweet, and you might find yourself in a future Comire Corner. And with that, finally, I've been Comire. This has been Stun Select. Thank you, and good night.
How's it not supposed to keep track of that many login email addresses and passwords? And saying you can sign in through Twitter just to ask me for an email or password is the same as asking me for an email and password. And video games have more digital distribution services and paid subscription plans than the number of consonants in a Welsh town name.